The following program is intended for mature audiences.
I command you to get on the microphone in a serious manner and continue this broadcast.
Hello, Nerd-O-Rama viewers, listeners, whatever you do to enjoy the show of Nerd-O-Rama. Adam here. I'm in my nerd cave. Actually, I hate calling it a cave. It's so close to man cave, and I don't know. It just man cave never really went anywhere with it for me. But I just wanted to say we had a fantastic show last episode yesterday, because this is Monday. It's actually Tuesday. It's in the middle of the night. And I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the horror movies. So we had a quick time to go over the lists, so I only made a top 5. There are a lot of better movies out there than the ones I listed. Well, not better than the ones I listed, but there's better movies to see, not just the ones I or Josh listed, because he listed some good ones too. Just a quick recap. This is all I want to do. I just want to talk about the movies, so we don't have to talk a bit more about movies in the next episode, so we can go into video games and the like, because we have a lot of horror to talk about. So, in no particular order, we have The Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. As you can see, the Evil Dead poster behind me, because it's a fantastic gore fest. Sam Raimi does a great job, especially the first one of being actually pretty creepy. And the second one was a sort of remake, but it was pretty funny as well. He started to get into his funny stride, and of course it was the flagship for the great, underrated Bruce Campbell. Next we have both versions of Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, Josh mentioned them. He mentioned the original, and he said he also liked the remake, but I wanted to say I personally like both movies. Next is the original, the third, and the 8th, I guess, the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. The first one, the Dream Warrior and Wes Craven's New Nightmare, those are fantastic films. The fourth one, The Dream Master, is a very underrated film. The others, you know, if you're a fan, you should watch them. If not, you know, you could skip them. And the remake, I wanted to like it more than I actually did, so I'm gonna say go ahead and skip that. The original and the sequel, the first two Halloween movies, John Carpenter's classic slasher film, which is coming back into the theaters the weekend of Halloween. I don't know how long it's going to be there, but it will have a mini documentary about the whole series, kind of like a small retrospective. The remake was good. The Rob Zombie remake was actually genuinely creepy, so give those a watch. Of course, the complete Omen trilogy, because the fourth one was a made-for-TV movie about a girl, had nothing to do with Damien, and the remake again was pretty decent. The third one is still my absolute favorite because Sam Neill plays Damien, and he's a politician, and he wreaks havoc on the political world. It's really great. A hard one to discuss is Phantasm. It's hard to really tell you what it is because you have to see the entire series to enjoy even the first one to know what's going on. But if you want an actual just creepy movie, Phantasm really is the way to go. I mentioned Italian horror, so the next one on there would be Suspiria. See, I have something to drink this time. Suspiria is an Italian movie. Dario Argento, one of my heroes, he made this movie about a young woman who goes abroad to study ballet at this academy, and it turns out to be a coven of witches. But it's not as silly as it sounds. It's actually really creepy, really gory. First time I actually got to see a heart get stabbed from the inside view. It was really kind of cool. And that was just the opening scene. So there we go. The movie that should have been on my top 5, but it wasn't because there were movies that were just slightly better, but it holds a dear place in my heart, is the first Exorcist. I got to see this movie as it was re-released in the theaters, and it was just as creepy then as it was when it came out. No one was in the hall. No one was running down the aisles and fainting and throwing up and throwing things at the screen, because we're jaded nowadays. We're going to talk about that next week too. The next one was listed as my favorite movie of 2005. Was the Rob Zombie sequel, semi-sequel to House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects. Now, a lot of people didn't like this movie. I thought it was an uncomfortable movie, in a good way. You felt something for the bad guys in the movie. At the end of the movie, you really wanted them to go on. It was an interesting experience. I'll say that. It was an interesting experience for that movie. So that was a fantastic movie. The next one's not necessarily a horror movie, but more on the vein of entertainment. It is a horror genre. Of course, it is the Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, one of the best. Billy Zane and what's his name? Anyway, Billy Zane was amazing in the movie. I'll come up to William Sadler. That's the guy's name. He. Yes, I'm very informal tonight. They both were fantastic in the movie. It was just really well made. Should have made a series out of it. So, Sci-Fi Channel, I'm talking to you. Next one is the Eli Roth classic. He brought gore right back to the theaters, and I'm not talking about the damn Hostel movies. I'm talking about Cabin Fever. Yeah, if you have a weak stomach and you want to see this movie, the DVD does have has a girly setting, and what it does is it brings up these digital hands like right in front of your eyes, and during the really gory parts, it's actually pretty brilliant. But it's a fantastic movie. The next one is one of my favorite Paul W.S. Anderson movies before he started making crap. Was the sci-fi horror classic Event Horizon. Now, you mention this to anybody, and I'm talking about anybody I've ever mentioned this to, and they're like, yeah, that movie was really creepy. And it was. Little known fact, the architecture, the actual ship, the Event Horizon, was made after the blueprints of the Notre Dame Cathedral. I don't know, it makes it kind of creepier for me, but you know, a little bit of trivia there, because that's what I love to do, is tell trivia. So the next one didn't start out as a horror movie, but it turned out to be one of the best vampire movies. Was the Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez collaboration, the From Dusk Till Dawn. The first one, stay away from the others. And the third one wasn't half bad, but the second one was awful. But the first one still holds a dear place in my heart. I even watched the documentary Full Tilt Boogie that comes with the DVD. It's fantastic. The next, don't really have much to say about it, but I wanted to throw it in. It was the Clive Barker movie Nightbreed. Great monster movie. Not necessarily a horror movie, kind of more like a I don't fit in type movie. It's really hard to explain, but Nightbreed is great. One of the best vampire movies ever made that nobody really seems to talk about anymore. Came out in the 80s. It's called Near Dark. It's got Lance Henriksen, and it's got Bill Paxton in it. It's like an Aliens reunion movie. I think it was actually before Alien. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm getting stumped on years. That's strange. Also, it's pretty late at night, and I have to get up in the morning, so let's continue on. On the Clive Barker train, see the segue is his latest movie, Midnight Meat Train, with, what's his name? The guy from that shitty Hangover movie, Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper plays a photographer trying to uncover the mysteries of these people that keep dying on the train, and Vinnie Jones plays this murderer, kind of hired by demons to kill people with a mallet on the subway in the middle of the night. Great movie, just because it sounds like a porno, just the name of it, Midnight Meat Train. It's a really good movie. One of my absolute favorites is next. Again, Clive Barker. Don't say his name more than was it 5 times? It's been a while. I can't remember if it's that or Beetlejuice. It's Candyman. Candyman is a fantastic movie. I'm not going to say his name anymore, but the first movie is really creepy. It has another Ted Raimi death in it. You'll see Ted Raimi die a lot in movies. It's something that he does. Let's move on to another John Carpenter classic. Sam Neill John Carpenter and Sam Neill take a Lovecraftian turn in The Mouth of Madness. Oh, excuse me. Where Sam Neill is an insurance fraud investigator. Has to find this Stephen King-like author who runs away to his own fictional world. It's rife with Lovecraftian stories, and very well done, John Carpenter movie. Of course, it's John Carpenter. The first Friday the 13th, of course, I can't fail to mention that. Great deaths in that movie. If you hate Kevin Bacon, watch this movie, because he the arrow through the neck scene is beautifully done. If you've never seen His Name Was Jason, it's a great documentary, narrated by the great Tom Savini. Yeah, the first Friday the 13th, the first and the third. I actually like them all, even the crappy ones. Even Jason X has a place on my DVD shelf, but don't tell anybody. Let's see. Movie I was surprised to actually like was The Ring. I actually liked it better than the Japanese version. It was genuinely creepy. I say that a lot, genuinely creepy, but I'm so surprised when a movie is like really creepy. So that was great. Hard Candy, just a fantastic movie. Ellen Page plays this little girl who's trying to kill this child molester, and it takes a lot of twists and turns. It's an independent film. I highly recommend it. It was before Ellen Page even did Juno, so give it a watch. High Tension, the French, not necessarily torture porn, but it was a really intense movie. It's another good one to watch. You can go along with the foreign movies. Wolf Creek from Australia. It's right on the cusp of horror and torture porn. Great movie. The villain in that movie was really creepy. I loved it. Wes Craven's Return to Horror, the first Scream movie, blew me away. I could talk about Scream for an entire episode, just for what it did for horror, what it brought back. Even though it did bring us, I Don't Know What You Did I Do Know What You Did last summer, and those movies, the teenage deaths. I'm not even going to go into Final Destination. That's not even on my list. Another movie by James Gunn. James Gunn also did, he produced the remake of Dawn of the Dead, but he directed the Michael Rooker villainized movie Slither, and another great almost comedy movie, very close to a Sam Raimi flick, and it's got Nathan Fillion in it. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Nathan Fillion movie. You hear that, Fox? That's right. Nathan Fillion or Joss Whedon's involved. Keep them. And last but certainly not least, the John Landis directed. Yes, John Landis, the man that directed all those great 70s comedies, did American Werewolf in London. One of the best werewolf movies ever made. One of the best transformation scenes. In fact, Rick Baker won an Oscar for making the Dr. Pepper guy turn into a werewolf. That's right. I said the Dr. Pepper guy. And probably 90% of the people watching are like, who's the Dr. Pepper guy? But I know you few people who are old enough to remember the Dr. Pepper guy. And I can't remember his name, so I'm just going to keep calling him the Dr. Pepper guy. He became a werewolf. It's a funny movie. It's a disgusting movie. It's scary. It's great. So that's my list of honorable mentions. I know it was a long list. I want to go on a couple more things. If you have the time, some of these movies are available on Netflix streaming. Other ones are on here that I didn't even mention. These movies you need to check out on Netflix. These great movies. One is Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. It's not necessarily a horror movie. It's kind of a parody of horror movies. It's fantastic. It's Tyler Labine and Andy Tudyk together playing rednecks, unknowingly terrorizing this group of college kids. It's great. Like I mentioned, Slither, the Hellraiser movies, From Dusk Till Dawn. I think those are the only ones that I mentioned are on here. I'm just going to run really quick down these names. Creepshow 2, Prince of Darkness, Children of the Corn, Let the Right One In. Both movies are actually really good, the American one and the foreign one. Lord of Illusions, I know people hated that movie, but it's actually really good once you watch it. Yeah, I know it's hard to say, but after you think about the movie, it was a lot better than you think it was. Night of the Demons, a good 80s classic horror movie. Stephen King's classic Carrie, you can't go wrong with that. And the religious horror movie that I really liked, it should have been on my list, but it wasn't. Was Stigmata. Oh man, a lot of heartburn tonight. So that's it. I just wanted to mention more. If you like this little video, if you want to see more of these, tell me. Let me know. Leave some comments, and we'll do more. I'll get Josh to help me do some. Well, not help me. I'll get Josh to do some, and we'll have our own little extra stuff. So this is Adam from Nerd-O-Rama. Make sure to tune in next Sunday for Nerd-O-Ween Part 2.